Hey there. So I did a VAS last night as the front kiter with my warden healer. So I wanted to just go ahead and show my setup so I can make that for you guys so you just see what I did. There are, of course, many options. This is just one that I used, and I'll explain to you why. Okay. So first of all, the food that I like to use on this is the Bistat, Mag and Health. That way I don't have to worry too much about the health. And you can see it's at 20k right now. And then if I heal myself, I get them toughness, and it's up to almost 22. If the tank's an Evan, then that makes it up to 23, and that seems to be plenty fine. I know a lot of people run 26 to 28k health, but I'll tell you why I don't do that. So let's take a look at my stat sheet real quick. Okay, so you'll see that I have the Atronach Mundus on, but another thing that you can try is the Lady Mundus. So if you can see right now, if I buff up, my resistances go up to 20k spell and 13 physical. So that's definitely a big help. Max magic is less because I have the Northern Storm on my front bar, so you can see that. Okay, so I'm going to go grab the Lady Mundus real quick. Another option that you can do is run Fortified Brass. Okay, so you can see my resistances went up to that. I'm going to go ahead and use my Ice Fortress, and you can see that's up to 23 and 16, but the downside is your mag recovery is a lot lower. So that's one choice that you can make while you're learning. I would suggest doing more resistances. Okay, and then the potions that I use are tri-stat. I just happen to have some of the crown tri-stat, which is why I'm doing that. The reason why is you're going to want stam regen sometimes, so it's nice to just have those quick slotted. Okay, so that's what that does for you. So just to show you what I was running, I have on the Black Rose Perfected Resto Staff, and that applies the vitality. That's not necessarily needed. I was just trying it out. But it did really help to keep the tank alive. It was his first time doing it, and he didn't die the first run, which was good. Another option you could do is just you can do the Maelstrom's Restoration Staff, because I like using mutagen here because I don't have to use Purge in the front, and it helps restore the magicka. Otherwise, you can just do full 2 5-piece set pieces. So I just have the IA on this one. So that's just on this bar. I just make sure I do a partial heavy attack with that. And then I'm using Earthgore. I do all light. You are definitely welcome to do a 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy. I just happen to do that with this build. I had Jorvulds on, and I just use a mix of Defined and Infused. You can, of course, put tri-stat glyphs on there to increase your stam. There's many options. This is just what works fine for me. And you can see the Jorvulds helps with the buffs. It makes my Warhorns last longer, and the altar and all that good stuff. And the IA you'll definitely want to keep on, because your job is to heavy attack the main boss for sure, and then the front mini protectors you can reach. Okay, and just to show you what I have just in my champion points, Blue's not so important. You can mess with that as long as you have 75 in Elfborn and Blessed. You're okay. Okay, so you can use your CP. If you're a roll dodger to get out of spit, do that. I'm personally a sprinter. And so I put some in the sprinter so I can reduce the cost of sprint and not use as much stamina. So you can either roll, dodge, or sprint. All this stuff, I just find sprinting to be more effective for me. This was my CP set up just kind of like a standard DPS would be. Sometimes I do it a little bit different. This is for VAS. Okay, another option you could do would be to put on fortified brass. I don't think, okay, I'll go ahead and put that on so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so you can see when I put this on, those are my resistances. They're higher than they are with just the that skill right there. So now when I do that, I'm way high up there. Those spits are barely gonna touch you. You would definitely want to do this more if you're doing plus films. This is just for regular front kiting bass. Okay, as you can see, it put my health way up there too. And so if I happen to also grab the lady, that's why you don't really want to do both. And I'll use the skill. And you can see that I'm like over the pen caps for the bill resistance for sure. And also with this setup, you can see my mag recovery is way down. So that's why I don't like doing both of those together. I found that it's much nicer to have high mag recovery up there. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Mag recovery is up to 1715, but this is why I prefer to wear the Jorvulds with it. Okay, and it also made my max magicka lower. So you have several options that you can do. Okay, so you can see on the right, my stats have gotten way better. My mag recovery is over 2,000. The max magicka is at 34 on the front. Okay, so that's kind of the setup I like to do. It might not be enough resistances for you, so you can go ahead and grab the lady if you want. Keep in charge your mag recovery is going to, keep in mind your mag recovery is going to be lower. Okay, so as far as the skill setup, I have this on my front bar just because I want to be able to run out of the spits. Okay, and you can use Ward Ally, or you could use the Late Armor Harness Magicka Shield. I would not suggest doing Bone Shield. I like this one because it can help the tank. The altar, if you're front kiting, make sure no one else is running the altar so that you can use this to keep up your toughness on the group. This is the only way a warden would really be viable as a front kiter. Okay, so you run up during the steam and you would place it at that point. Okay, so this keeps it going, also gives them a nice synergy for their health. Okay, mutagen, you definitely want to use this. It helps with the heal. It does you and up to 2 nearby allies. It keeps their health up, and each of those attacks, light attacks even from almost really hurt, so it's nice to have that on the tank. And it helps kind of a spot heal, and it removes a harmful effect. So I'll use that during the kite too, of the Storm of Heavens. I like using Enchanted Growth instead of Healing Springs in here. because it gives minor intellect and minor endurance. So it's helping the tank and I with the magicka and stamina recovery. I personally have Northern Storm on the front bar here. I don't use it, but as you can see on the bottom while slotted, my max magicka is increased by 8%, and that is definitely helpful. Another thing that you can throw on the front bar while you're learning is Light's Champion. So you can see the ultimate cost is way lower. It's at 125, and you can also increase, give the major force and major protection, which is what the Warhorn does. So you at least get some benefit to the group from doing that. Okay. So, and any friendly target you heal with that. It has a 28-meter radius, so it's pretty big. Okay, so this is my front bar. You definitely want to keep your Betty Nutch on. And when it's summoned, it removes negative effect. So that's another reason why you don't really have to have Purge up there, because you're not really focusing on purging the group. Definitely want LA Drain on to hit those protectors and the main boss. I like to use the Expansive Frost Cloak when I do this. You don't have to have it on if you're wearing Fortified Brass. It lasts for a long time, as you can see. It has a really big radius, 28 meters, and it helps you in the tank. Energy orbs, you're going to want to throw these to the group anytime you have time, but definitely focus on the tank. It does also a nice heal. Budding Seeds, right now it's a bit broken. Your ally has to be standing in the middle of it to get the synergy, and this is why you would use it, would be for the Alkosh proc if your tank's wearing Alkosh. Okay. So it has a pretty far throw, so you can throw it from anywhere, but just make sure you center it on the tank. Supposed to be fixing that in a patch. And of course, Aggressive Warhorn is what you're going to want to be using if you don't feel that you need the heal from the Resto ulti in your oh crap moments. Okay, and then just to remind you, when they're unsummoned, this is the Betty Nutch passive and the Deceptive Predator. This is why I have it on both bars, okay? So when you cast the ability, you generate ultimate, so you can get your ultimate up quite quickly, and increases your mag and stam recovery if it's slotted. And to show you on this, you can get major mending. That's why you want to use seeds. This is why you don't take that off in the enchanted growth. That's why they have it on both bards. Okay, and you get mag or stamina when you heal them with those abilities, and increases your healing done. And this is where you get your minor toughness from. So this is activating a heal on yourself or an ally. You grant the minor toughness, which is why the Blood Altar is so great, because it's constantly draining them every 1 second. So you're going to keep up that toughness. Okay, so I think that's it as far as build-wise. I'll go ahead and go over the video next. Thank you. Alright, so here we are starting up. I'm just going to go over this part briefly. So as you can see, I have Combat Prayer on my bar. So that stacked fine in the DPS for dropping Destros, because it's going to be a highly mag heavy trial. You may consider a Sandflower in here, but not really much else. We do happen to have a bow Sork build in here right now. Who's trying it out. It seemed to work pretty well for him, so he is range. Here we go, making sure everyone's their kite lanes down. And here I go switching out, almost forgot to. Apparently I was having a hard time finding it for a second. Right, and here we go. So generally you can just keep the boss where he was. See how he was too kind of far back. You don't really want to move him that much, but the tank was newer, so that's okay. See, and he's spitting on the group because he hasn't turned, because he got that first bit. So he's going to need to move him back. So what I'm doing here is I'm keeping the seed synergy on him. You can see where it's going to land, where you are when it lands is where the spit goes. So you can't really see him start to spit and then run out of it because it'll follow you. It's now time for jumping. So go to the side here. Just kind of using mutagen and healing ward. Okay. So here's kite. Just kind of want to kite in a circle. You don't really have much room to go. You can't just do a straight back kite. Okay, so I like to kind of try and place them starting first up on the side there. You don't want to get hit by that steam or you'll get one shot. Okay, so keeping up the IA. So you just sprint out of that and it doesn't even touch you if you can sprint out. It's when you stand it and you have the trouble. So run up there when just after you kite one of those spits and it'll give you enough time. And keeping up with his minor intellect and endurance with the shrooms. Throwing out some orbs, maybe some of the front DPS will get it. And I try and kind of, like I said, place them on the side. I went up here so I could place Blood Altar real quick again, throw a few orbs. And my Earthgore saved them. So that was coming, so it was starting to run out. You really want to place it a little bit more to the side. And that's why you want the tank to keep the boss that far forward. So I put some IA on that protector. Generally, I like to place the spit coming from outside towards inside so you get ready when you're gonna start kiting the films jumps. So I got mutagen, so I took off that effect. It's jumping again. So we block. I was block casting stuff. Okay, so I'm starting here, moving. You can use swiftness to get out of it, or you can just move. If you pause for a second, though, then it looks like you got turned and spit on the group, so the tank's still working out positioning. Okay, fine. I did that protector. It's also doing call outs. You want to make sure you call out those front protectors when you see them. It's going to be harder for the group healer to see them. So I went this direction just so I could place altar again and do a warhorn. Okay, so he's doing another spit, so I place it there. Otherwise, you would place it starting out and then going in. I just came up here because I knew that the steam was going to be coming soon. And kite. So I'm just going to go start on the other, fresh on the other side of the room with the next spit. So as long as you're within, like, I think it's like 195 or something degrees of his vision, the spit will still go on you. It goes on the farthest person. So see how you don't have much room there with the steam? You're going to want to kind of try and hang out on these sides. Want to place altar again, throw some more orbs. Get some, kind of missed getting IA on that protector, so it's on the wrong staff. But now I'm going over to the other side, just during kite. Trying to put on my tri potions because I forgot to do that. I knew I could do that during the steam. You can also put Swift on your jewelry. Okay, so this is we're up to the last jump, and this is execute phase. So what you're going to want to do is stay to the corners of the room like you have been, or the edges, excuse me. So I ran out more to this edge. Almost got killed by that steam breath. Tank's having a little bit of a hard time positioning him after that jump. I think he was a little bit too far forward, so boss got confused. And that one actually zapped me because I got slowed and apparently my swiftness didn't go off. So I'm going to the edge again because that's where the fire dot hurts the least. I'm not a vampire. If you do, you could consider doing Bloody Mara before this. I just don't find a vampire absolutely necessary. Right, get the blood altar out. Put the IA on both of those. I could be better about putting on the LA drain, but looks like the Tink moved the boss even more far forward, so you're not going to be able to stand there. If you had films, you would probably die. I know he's doing the 3 jumps now, but it's best to place the films as far away as you can get from the Tink. Apparently, in execute, I lag more because of all the extra mechanics, so sometimes the buttons don't go off. I'm trying to press the swiftness, and it's not happening. There it goes, finally. So that went a little bit late. That's why it's draining my health and my magicka, and that's how you really die in here. The boss is really far forward. That's why I'm staying way over here, because I don't want to get caught in the steam. And I have to go all the way around instead of staying in front of him. See? The steam completely covers the back. That's why the positioning is really important. You want Ohms like more on that little square on the ground behind him, like where the middle of his tail is. So I'm also throwing out mutagen after this to purge the effect for me and the tank. He has purge on himself. The purge will also remove that Storm of Heavens dot. If you get hit by 2 of those, you're dead. Looks like I did a dodge roll again. It's hard to break that habit. Alright, and the dude is now dead. Good job. So let me know if you have any questions on here, and I would be happy to answer them for you.